Yeah. It's the Tuesday after Mother's Day. Wow.
Yeah, is there a name for that?
Talk the Tuesday after Mother's Day? I
Is that
don't
it?
know.
Is that the name for it?
That's all I get.
Okay. Well, yeah, today is the 16th of
Mhm.
May, and we're happy to be here and happy to see you. Can you see us? Because we can see you. Hi.
Mm.
Hello. Hey,
Oh,
tonight, you know what? I know it's not June yet, but it's a good night to talk about Queens. And I don't mean the
yes.
borough.
Oh, come on. You got jokes. Oh my gosh. Well, it's time to get going with another talk on the Tuesday. Here we go. Hey, it's Tuesday. Yeah. Oh my
It
gosh.
it is. Happy
Inter-
Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday. Interludes is streaming every Tuesday on our YouTube channel. And here we go. Guys, if you need a book design, go ahead and contact our sponsor, On Point Book Design. They'll help you with your manuscript to finish book, making sure that everything is on point. Call or email Natalie at On Point Book Design or go to onpointbookdesign.com. Woohoo! I'm always happy when we have a sponsor, Michael.
Yes, you are.
Yes, so I have to say I had a very, very good Mother's Day. I was supposed to have pictures of my aunts and stuff, but I didn't get their permission, so we're not gonna do that. Um,
So it was a happy Mother's Day for you.
it was a
You were
yeah.
surrounded by moms. Is that right?
I was surrounded by moms. I was grateful to be able to spend the what do you call this? The Mother's Day holiday with my aunts, my mom's sisters, and they were all younger than my mom, and I I remember spending summers in what is that? In Omaha, Nebraska, and it's very funny. The one of my friends said, "I didn't know there were black people in Omaha. I think we are just about in every metropolitan area in the world. Isn't that
You mean
correct, Michael?"
Your family is in every metropolitan area of the
I
country?
don't.
Because I
I
too
don't.
did not know there were black people in Omaha until I met you. And there are, and I'm thinking maybe these are the people that stick around after they're
Mhm.
finished playing football for the university. But you're telling me like there are actually black people in Omaha. Next, you'll tell me that there's some in North Dakota.
And I talked to a good friend of mine who actually he travels for his business, and he said, "Valerie, there, I'm here in North Dakota, and I really don't see a lot. I saw me, and that was it."
I saw. So he was the population when he went through, and then when he left, the population
Mhm.
dropped back down to 0. That I believe. Yeah, I can see that. I mean, but as you say, we pretty much are everywhere and have been
Mhm.
everywhere. All joking aside, and I think that's one of the things that we want to talk about tonight is that the fact that we have queens and kings, and not just in Africa, buddy, in other places too. And as these works come out, dramatic works, some of them based in fact, some of them a little bit more fictionalized. Can't really call it history, though it is our story. It,
Mhm.
it, it kind of takes you into these other places and spaces, and I can say on a whole I appreciate it because I need a break from the everyday trauma of living in this country.
We all need a break from living and the trauma of living in this everyday situation with oh gosh, all the stuff that's happening. And all I have to say is that I would love a nice a way of a political away from the political distractions that are happening. It would be great to just go ahead and escape to a different world. Let's say 16th, 17th century, maybe English. I don't know. But before I go to that, wanted to know if you guys, if you all had a good Mother's Day, let us know in the chat. Give us a shout and let us know if you had a good Mother's Day, because I know I did. And it was kind of a preemptive strike. I had to do whatever it took to make sure that I had a decent, Mother's Day, so I wouldn't be triggered. One quick thing I want to do. I know this is your favorite young lady. I'm just gonna make this assumption because I totally forgot. Someone just told me maybe about an hour ago, and they said, "Do you know whose birthday it is?" I'm like, "Whose birthday is it?" Oh my gosh, it's this young lady's birthday. Yes, Janet.
And she
Miss
had yeah,
Jackson.
she happens to be a mom.
Yes, yes.
At least one time over that she admits to. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I'm
Thank you,
sure she
Mark.
gets more than one card on Mother's Day. Let's put it like that.
Exactly, exactly. Mark Lee says that his mom's day was good. He says his mom is one of the most amazing mentors. Isn't that
That's
wonderful?
good. And I'll
That's
mention my
beautiful.
mom because I certainly do love my mom
Hmm.
at least as much as Tupac loved his mom. Uh,
Exactly.
Speaking of Mother's Day, and there is Janet and Tupac
Hmm.
starting a movie together. See how that's here. And Janet is a working mom too. Val the voice.
Hmm.
Sure.
Currently, she is on tour with the
Mhm,
Together Again, and I
mhm.
believe she is making her way to the Chicago land area, not Chicago, but Chicago land.
Oh, well, she's heading out to the place. I think I saw her Bruno years ago. Um,
Oh.
about 12 different bodies. Earlier, Janet.
Hmm.
I saw her, and you know what I really like, and I'll mention the other working mom that's also on tour. That
Hmm.
of course is called a queen, Queen Bey, Beyonce. She's also a working mom that's out on
Yeah.
tour, and she made her
Hmm.
tour debut recently
Oh yeah.
overseas. That people have been talking about the fact that neither one of these outstanding women are doing a lot of dancing and singing on their
Hmm.
shows, and
Hmm.
I'm not sure why anybody would expect that they would.
I
I mean,
and
th
here's
yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah, and here's the thing. It's not like either one are spring chickens.
No,
Janet is
but
in her is blessed to have seen that she's over the 50 mark. So if other dancers are doing more,
hello?
please allow them to do so. That is what they're
Hello,
there for.
did you
And that
see Homecoming? I mean, like,
I saw
that was the
homecoming
last
and
time
that
that that woman, was, like, working it, and
woo,
she had just had one of them come through her body. So
pretty much.
I
So
mean, these are some working moms, and they are working it. So,
mhm,
rather than throwing, criticism or shade their way, you can't really throw shade to either one of them because the
mm-mm.
spotlight is too bright. It will just eat that shade away. They are. I mean, I think that they are. Uh, I don't criticize them. Let me put it that way. Like, if I
Mhm.
wanted to see somebody sing, I'd probably go see Anita Baker, and I guess she would make sure you saw her if you know anything about that tour recently. Uh,
Mhm. There we go.
sorry, babyface. Yeah, so she would make sure
Wow.
that you saw her. So I wouldn't go to a Janet Jackson concert to hear Janet belt out a song. And I certainly
Mhm.
don't think that she's going to be doing, a 2-hour dance workout. It's a show,
It's a show,
and
right?
it's a show.
Mhm.
Yeah, we are giving a shout out to Janet. This is her birthday week. She's no longer Michael's baby sister anymore. She is
Mm-mm.
pretty much the main entertainer in that family, right? I
Mhm.
mean, the
Very
Jackson
much
family
so.
is her. It's her family, and there are a bunch of cousins around there. I know that they had their teen groups, and they're still floating around. Paris pops up sometimes. Her niece, right? So yeah, so I mean, I think Janet is awesome as a working mom. I think that you know, Beyonce certainly. And coming up here, talk about how we prepare for things.
Mhm.
I want to mention something to you that I didn't get a chance
What
to
you got?
talk about previously, and I saw it and I
Mhm.
was so excited about it. Um, Speaking of a woman who kind of paved the way for both Janet Jackson and Beyonce in terms
Mhm.
of working hard for her money. I saw that coming up pretty soon over the next couple of months, HBO Max, which is going to change to Max,
Max, yeah.
but they are going to be putting out a documentary on the Queen of Disco, Donna
Mhm.
Summer, the woman that gave us the song "She Works Hard for the Money,"
Mhm.
and Val the Voice. I am all in. I
Yeah.
mhm.
I was a huge fan of Donna Summer, and in fact, when these little discs that were black and they were called 45s, that's way before many people's time. Way before many people's time. My mom and I had, I think, what was this? Bad Girls. I didn't
Mhm,
know that she
mhm.
was talking about prostitution until way later down the
Is
road.
she
Yeah, child.
okay? Okay.
So I had no idea. And here's the thing, because it was I need love, or I feel love, that
I feel
song
love.
felt
Yeah.
very, you know, I don't know, it was just all over the place. And I'm thinking, what is she talking about? I need love, I need love, I need love. What is she? And she's all breathless. I didn't get it either. And then I got older and was like, oh, I think I
Uh,
understand what she's talking about.
Mr. Springer, always on it. Always on it. Yeah, Love to Love You, the Donna Summer
Mhm.
documentary. It is coming. It's gonna be on HBO Max. So if you
Max.
have HBO
Mhm.
Max, it's gonna turn to Max by the time it comes out. So same thing.
Mhm.
And the thing about Donna Summer, as you mentioned, you know, you had this persona that she created as a singer, and it's, you know, pretty sexual.
Very,
It
very.
certainly is in tune with, you know, expressing herself as a woman through music at a time when you didn't have a lot of that expression.
Mhm.
That was a major change at the time, which sort of opens the door for things like, you know, Beyonce and Janet Jackson to further explore that so that they don't
Mhm.
become one dimensional. And I love Donna Summer. I mean, I got to tell you, I can't.
Right.
So I mean, and she is. In speaking of queens, she was the queen of disco to me, undisputed. And what I really like about her, and it's coming in by the voice, haha,
Mhm.
is that Donna Summer creates this persona in her music. People love it. They go to it.
Mhm.
They, you know, man, that she keeps and maintains this private life. And her ability to do that, I think, is amazing and
Mhm.
probably could teach a lesson to a lot of the current, you know, so-called stars and people who are out there today. There's so much social media, and I know that that's how people become stars today. I'm not that old. I understand that, and I understand that, you know, they're crafting an image, and sometimes it's not who they say they are. You know, recently there was a report with the weekend, Abel wanting to maybe publicly come back and drop this whole weekend name and persona and just be called Abel. And
Mhm.
I think that's really interesting because, you know, artists craft this idea of who they want us to believe them to be. And Donna Summer
Mhm.
was apparently a master at it. I mean, she had a home life. She had, you know, she's got this family. And how much of that do you know?
That is, I only knew about that possibly maybe through a few interviews, but it was here and there and not not too common. Very quickly, let me jump to this. Your friend Gardis is here. He said for a long time, I didn't know Rick James' song Mary Jane was about smoking weed. I didn't either. A lot of the music back in the
I
the,
did.
the 60s, the 60s and
I knew.
70s. I didn't
I know
know.
of Miss
I didn't
Mary
know. I
Jane.
didn't know. And
Um,
Donna Summer's music, I love Donna Summer's music. I know that when it got to She Works Hard for the Money, and this is
mhm,
when music videos were like
yeah,
extremely popular.
yeah,
That's when I got into loving to see her perform as a singer, and then just kind of everyone doing this coordinated dancing. And then she had a woman dancing, I think, in like a she was in a had a hard hat on. There was a woman dancing in a nurse's outfit, and
right.
I just appreciated that whole, nod to
Representation.
every representation of women. And so this is going to be a fun
And
documentary
hang
coming.
on, Gardner,
Hmm.
tonight, especially because we are going to talk
Hmm.
about some of the interesting ways that people have responded to Netflix. So, because Netflix transitioning, yeah, Marcolino
Mark
was
knew too.
well, he should. He's coming out of Carolina. They grow stuff down. That's where they grew the tobacco.
Oh my
So this
gosh,
is
really?
wacky tobacco, right? I remember that name. So yeah, hang on, Gardis, because Gardis, I know, knows a lot about this and probably can help us through this conversation. Netflix has two kind of it seems like they're doing two different things. One
Hmm.
is been received with incredible success. The other not so much,
Not
which
so
is
much.
really interesting because one of them
Hmm.
has more to do with facts as we know them or we're learning about than the other. So let's talk about the big one. And there she is. There she is, Queen Charlotte. Val the voice. As you've been making your rounds across the country, you got to check out Queen Charlotte on Netflix coming out of Shondaland. Tell us what you think of this, what your thoughts are. Certainly, this is currently the number one show on
Hmm.
Netflix and probably will be for a while.
Hmm.
Sequel to Bridgerton. Tell us about it, Val
Yes.
the Voice.
Well, you know what? This was entertaining because I was at my aunt's house, and what was happening, my aunt, they usually just stick with regular television, regular cable. So I have to be the one that interrupts their regularly scheduled program and say, "Hey, let's watch this on Netflix."
Well, the writer's
And so
strike is interrupting some of the regularly scheduled stuff too, right?
pretty much. Thank you.
Yeah.
Pretty much with that. So, if anyone was a fan of the Bridgerton series, which is based on the books, and the very first Bridgerton that came out, everyone was raging over Reggae Page, John Page. They were like, "Oh my gosh, she's so fine." However, I think the other rage was Gouda Rashuval, and she's the one who played the Queen. And we didn't formally know her name was Charlotte, but it was the Queen, and that's how she was referred to. And I was thinking, I kept looking, I'm like, what is she? I didn't know what her race was. And so I said, I knew a lot of people called her out. So, and there she is right there. And I'm just, I think a lot of people, and she's here
All
with
hail
few
the Queen,
sacks. All hail the Queen. So this is the prequel
not the
to the
side chick
Bridgerton
Queen.
series, the prequel, if that's the way to properly state that. And so this is her being young and marrying a young King George. And I have to tell you guys, gentlemen, this is a English actor, Corey Michael, and he is these two actors and actresses, India, I'm not going to butcher her last name. This is a young lady playing Queen Charlotte as a person who's getting married as young as 17 years old. So it's 6 episodes to this. And the big reveal, if you guys haven't seen it, I would say go ahead and check it out. But there is a big reveal. I'll be quiet. There's a big
I
reveal
gotta watch her,
about.
y'all. I gotta watch her because Val will tell you everything sometimes. I know that from talking to her. So she'll tell you like she tried to tell me some of it. I'm like, hey, hold on a second. Hold on a second. Still working through them episodes. All
Yeah.
right, go
So
ahead.
anyway, so it's a beautiful story of how this this marriage was arranged, but in arranged marriages, love can happen. And then it deals with some interesting insecurities that is in all of us, no matter if you have a title or not. And I was watching the last episode on the way home yesterday, and some things that happened earlier in the season that happened in that last episode that had me in tears. No, 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 no. It
Okay,
had
okay.
me in tears. And
Um,
so thank you so much, Kevin. He said to find out more. He put it, thank you so very much.
yeah,
He's
yeah,
learned
yeah,
more.
yeah. Because Val ain't, I mean, I ain't gonna let her tell y'all. Some of y'all ain't seen it all, so we gonna
I
not do that
I
here.
now here's the thing. What the same thing like Bridgerton. Wait a minute. What did you say about Mark? Are you saying Val
Are you
can't keep
saying
a
Val
secret?
can't keep a secret, so I can never tell her a secret? Mental note to my help. Nah, Mark, you gotta know, you gotta understand why secrets work. Okay, a secret is something that you keep to yourself. As soon as you tell the other person, it's no longer a secret, buddy. There's only one way to keep a secret, and I'll stay away from that.
Okay, okay. So you know what? We're gonna leave it alone. So here, I am recommending. Now here's the thing.
Yeah,
Now
yeah, go ahead.
you guys know about Shondaland. If you ever go to Shondaland, and if you understand how her world works,
Trey,
Grey's Anatomy, Station 19, she likes to be extremely all
Shondaland.
inclusive, all inclusive. So, and here's Delana.
Mm,
Delena's telling me she hasn't seen it
mm.
yet. So please don't spoil it.
I know, right? I know. Yeah. Hey, I'll do this for you. Shout out there. Yeah.
Delana.
Hey, look, I'm trying. I'm doing my best. Okay. Now I love that you're giving Shonda this. Shonda Land, Shonda Rhimes. If you don't know,
Mhm.
is what they call the showrunner and
Showrunner.
producer of
Mhm.
Queen Charlotte. She also served in the capacity by bringing Bridgerton to Netflix, inventing Anna.
Mhm.
That's
Oh, that's a
also a
good one.
Shonda. She's the
Shondaland.
woman behind Grey's Anatomy,
Mhm.
behind Scandal, How to Get Away with Murder. These are all Shonda Rhimes products. Shonda Rhimes hailing from south suburbs of Chicago. Y'all
Ow,
probably didn't know
ow,
that.
ow.
She is the person, and she's the queen behind the script, pretty much.
And
Now you talked about
now,
diversity. Let me just throw this in there because
okay, let me just let me
my
jump
girl
back in it.
gets a lot of negativity, and by that I mean Kerry Washington, who was married
Oh
to a
no.
former football player. Because it
Oh,
seems in Kerry Washington's projects, there's always a Caucasian gentleman who's on the other end of her affection. Shonda Rhimes was wrote Scandal, y'all. And if you follow through Shonda Rhimes' work, you will see this reoccur again and again. I think Shonda is trying to tell us something, but anyway.
okay, so here's the thing. What makes this story beautiful is the relationship between that you see established between young Charlotte and young King George. And so all I have to say is it's the dialogue. I know you guys that you are thinking, is this going to be action? No, it's not action. It is dialogue. And what was funny for my aunt and uncle, we put it on, what do you call it, closed caption, so we could sit there and make sure, because sometimes the voice goes really low, so you can catch it. But that tender story and just kind of dealing with the insecurities of all of us when getting involved in a relationship, and with this dealing with an arranged situation. And then I have to call out Arcilla Thomas, and she plays the young Agatha Danbury. And her character is kind of placed in the queen's court because there was a line in the very beginning, the queen kind of remarking of the woman they brought over from Germany. She's quite brown. Me and my aunt just cracked up about that for like hours after we watched it. It was, she's quite brown.
And so we are talking Queen Charlotte, the top
Mhm.
show on Netflix at this time, is coming from Shonda Rhimes, who's the showrunner. She's the creator of much of the television that you've been enjoying for the past 15 to 20 years, both
20
on
years, yeah.
ABC and now on Netflix. She brought her
Mhm.
talents to Netflix, just like LeBron to South Beach and now out to Los Angeles.
Mhm.
Having some difficulties in Denver right now. But anyway, so
Oh
yeah.
my.
So Shonda Rhimes is that. She is that chick. And I've got to tell you, among the queens in England, I will take Queen Charlotte over the Queen Consort anytime. Though the Queen Consort, of course, I'm talking about Camilla, is the queen of
Mhm.
side chicks. And I do want to give her a shout out. We didn't mention the coronation because we're not that show. But I got to tell
Yeah,
y'all,
we're not.
she is the queen of side chicks now for real. Because every side chick that ever thought like he gonna be mine one day, she turned out to be true, and she is wearing the crown. Now, what's
Right.
really awesome about
Mhm.
Queen Charlotte and about Bridgerton is that
Mhm.
it brings together history with a little bit of embellishment of a time that did exist. There was
Exactly.
a regency period in jolly old England, and there were people of color, people of different backgrounds who came into uh, royalty and
Mhm.
were embraced in some ways for various reasons as royals and extensions of royalty. So there
Right.
is some basis there. You wonder Queen Charlotte and Lucy May something again. No, 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 Mark. No, this is there's basis in fact here. And the fact that this is not something that has been highlighted in the past is really interesting. Now,
Mhm.
Val, do you want to go to the contrast, which I find fascinating right now? Can we dip into the contrast? I won't spend too much time on it, but I
Okay, so we're gonna go to the other Queen story that is on Netflix.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
let's go
When
ahead
can
and do
when
that.
can you miss it?
Yeah, so the other one is Queen Cleopatra. And I didn't get a chance to watch this, but Mike did. What did you think of this
What did I
documentary?
think of it? So
Mhm.
here's the thing. Uh, my goodness, to have a work about one of the most important figures in history, a woman clearly who is based and rooted in Africa, to get panned so much was
Right.
just amazing. I mean, there was story after story. You know, the Egypt wanted to sue Netflix. I mean, this was kind of ridiculous. All of the
Mhm.
negativity it got, and then I kept having to wonder, why is this getting so much negative attention? Well, maybe the queen of negativity is one of the reasons. This show is executive produced by Jada Pinkett Smith, who
Mhm.
you may know from her time at the Oscars a couple of years ago. So Jada is the producer. She has given us this opportunity to look at this period in Africa in which this woman, this very strong woman, inherits a position of power. She
Mhm.
uses her whole self, brain and body, to forge relationships with Rome and with the greater world, to bring Egypt to prominence and to put herself in a place where now you and I, you know, hundreds the millennia later, are still talking about her. So what would you have to say negative about any of this? If you watch it, Queen Cleopatra is based in history. You have historians there at every point talking to you, telling you how this is based in their research and what they've done. It watches like a kind of an A&E documentary or a PBS
Okay.
frontlining.
Mhm.
It has some reenactment to it. Then here's the thing. Some of y'all really think that Queen Cleopatra looked like Elizabeth Taylor, and I'm not really sure why. History would say probably not. Egypt, I guess, wants to lean more toward her, Cleopatra, looking like Elizabeth Taylor rather than the actress whose skin looks like yours and mine, Val Divorce.
Mhm.
And
Right.
because of this show got so much criticism. I tell you, you don't do better with history than reading a book or learning something in a history class. But this series is really illuminating. And here's the thing: it's not the first time that Jada Pinkett Smith through Netflix has looked at queens in Africa. In fact, this is the second show
Right.
that
Second one.
her
Yeah.
production company has produced. The first one came out in February. Did y'all know that? The first one had to do with the queen in Angola, which is a four-part series, and focused in on that. Nobody had a problem when they had that queen, brown skin and all, and talked about the ways in which she consolidated her power and ruled over an empire. However, when we get to Cleopatra, getting a little too close, huh? Not really what we want to talk about. Now, I'm the last person to defend Jada Pinkett Smith. Believe me, I am the last person. However, I think that the
Here's
effort that she has gone through to try to put this together and offer this is really something that you should check out. Don't listen to critics. Take it in yourself. If you
okay.
like and you're looking for queens and you're interested in Queen Charlotte, here's a different type of queen.
Okay. And so sounds like you are recommending both documentaries
I think so. I mean,
and
as long as
Queens
you go
and
into it and you know it's not Bridgerton. You're not gonna have the music or the dancing or the love the passion love that cannot be quenched. You got,
oh
sisters
boy.
balling. I mean, if you enjoyed something like the African
The
King,
Woman King.
the Woman
The
King,
Woman
right? The
King.
Woman
Yeah.
King. You enjoy the
Mhm.
Woman King and seeing something that kind of takes on a historical, um, basis there, our history.
Right?
I mean,
So mhm.
how often do we complain about the fact that nobody's obviously we stuck on the trauma going on, in America every day and this and that, and
Right.
how come we don't
Right.
tell these stories? Well, I mean, to her credit, red tape or
And
gone, Jada's
yeah,
trying to tell you some of these stories, but
right.
y'all not really checking for
Right. Right. And then check this out. Gardis says, I remember when people got upset when the History Channel portrayed African General Hannibal as black. So as we wrap this up, guys, the recommendation from Mr. Womble is please check out African Queens and also Queen Cleopatra.
and of
Sound
course, Queen
mhm.
Charlotte, right?
I'm gonna
Queen
recommend
Charlotte.
Queen Charlotte. So there's other folks that does stuff like that, but it's time for sports. Let's go.
Yeah, buddy.
Hey,
Man,
The
hey,
music.
I'm
hey,
still over here. I'm sitting here just still vibing. You know what I'm saying?
I know,
hey,
I
Hey,
know.
hey, hey,
hey.
hey! I got one comment on what you and Val talked about. I like listening to you guys. I get so educated. You know what I'm saying? Educated on everything that's going on. I ain't looking at nothing that Jada Pinkett putting out. I'm sorry. I love y'all. I'm
I,
not
I,
going to
I think
agree.
Oh.
that's Coach.
Period.
I think that's it. I mean, I gotta
Mhm.
believe that's it. That she is. But here's the part that's rough on this. Here's the part that's rough. She ain't in it. Okay, these are historians. These are historians,
Right.
mostly women who are talking about Queen Cleopatra and how she was able to consolidate power, how she was able to kind of work around having to marry her brother, a sister who was wanted to stab her in the back, almost literally, and her relationship with Mark Anthony in Rome. And This is some baller stuff, okay?
Man, sound
Coach,
like growing up.
coach,
Hey,
coach,
sound like
if I
growing up
set
on the
this,
south side.
that's what I was
Oh.
about to say. If I set this on the south side of Chicago, if I put this point, if I threw this series in Baltimore, I feel like people will be checking for it. However,
Right.
it's based in Africa, and this ain't to classy dispersions, but y'all seem to want to check for queens in Europe who are black, but not necessarily queens in Africa who are black. And I got
That,
some
and that may be the problem. But
I
on
got
the
some
other hand,
questions about that.
on the other hand, I want to give you 2 thumbs up, 3 thumbs up, 50 pumps up, man. Love that Walter Payton, baby. Sweetness.
Sweetness, I
Oh,
love it. Hey,
yeah.
you got love too, Coach. Hey, there you go.
That my girl go right there. What's up, man? What's up, Big
Oh,
Chop? Hey,
yeah.
that's
You
my
guys are
girl.
united
Hey,
All
again. There you
right.
go.
listen. Before we get into the show, I want to do one unusual thing tonight. I want to make this an audience show tonight. We got some serious topics to talk about in the sports world, and I want to hear from you. Delane, I want to hear from you. Mark, I want to hear from you. Springer, everyone out there. If you're not on Interludes Talk on Tuesday with none other than in my left-hand corner, Val the Boards, in my right-hand corner, my main man, Mike Womble, and of course, y'all know who I am, because I'm going to get down every week, Coach Tony. You need to be hitting that subscribe button right there below that says subscribe to Interludes on YouTube. Hit that button right there so you can get the best knowledge and the latest information on what's going on in entertainment and in sports. Having said that, I got a question of the night that I want to hear from everybody. And we're going to kick this off with the situation that's going on here in Tennessee, down the road from me, from Nashville and Memphis, with none other than John Morant. Is it mental illness or is it just simply stupidity? Once again, is it mental illness? Is it simply stupidity? And I want some weigh in on this. And, and Mike,
Yeah.
you and I cover this back and forth and what's going on with the NBA. And what makes me mad, and Val, this is something that you commented on several months ago. We were talking about that when I had my young guy on, Noah Williams. These young guys emulate to be professionals, right?
Yeah. Yes.
And when they take the time to do, whether they're coming from the hood or whether they come from a good situation. And this only makes, in my opinion, and Mike, I definitely want to hear yours. I want to hear yours seriously. You got a young man that's not a thug,
He's
that
not.
lives in a middle class family.
Mm-hmm.
I had the opportunity, one of my
Demetrius is not a thug.
yeah, right. I had the opportunity a few years ago, my AAU squad to play against him in Atlanta. And
Oh.
great guy. And matter of fact, he and Zion Williamson was on the same team. And phenomenal kid. Here's the same kid that I know, coach, that was at my boy Steve Sprung. Steve was a great guy, coached at Murray State, and at the time, went down to take a look at somebody else and saw this kid working extra hard after the game. Val, the kid lost a basketball game and was in the gym shooting ball for an extra hour. How he got picked up. Then he gets a phenomenal senior year at Murray State, moves on to the NCAA tournament, gets put out, but then gets drafted by Memphis. Didn't have a great rookie season. Mike, I know he couldn't shoot the ball, but he learned how to do that. Now, let's rewind the clock a little bit so we can set the stage for everybody who these questions are coming in.
Yeah.
MJ passed the torch on to none other than who? Kobe.
Yeah.
Kobe, unfortunately, a terrible accident from a helicopter took the next greatest guy, in my opinion, away from the game. So the torch was all automatically given to LeBron, which he's done a phenomenal job. Philanthropy, on the court, off the court, and getting his homeboys involved. You don't hear bad stories about LeBron, which I absolutely, and I'm not a LeBron fan, but I love everything he does. And now, at 39, 40 years old, LeBron was supposed to hand this torch directly over to Ja Morant. Now, Val and Mike, I was in Memphis this weekend with my AAU team. And this is going to show you the stupidity of people. And it got to my heart. I talked to my team before a game we had.
Mm.
Saturday, there was a guy, part of Memphis. I don't know. It was on the news. I'm looking at it. A gentleman came up to another gentleman and asked him, "Hey, I like the gun that you got in your hip. Can I take a selfie with you?" The guy said, "Sure." Takes a selfie with the guy. He said, "Man, you like that gun?" I said, "Yeah, I do." Then the guy pulled the gun off his hip and shot the guy in the head. So instead of John Morant being in a situation to be in Memphis, to be an advocate of violence and what's going on in the city and cleaning up. Because outside Chicago, Memphis is like a Siamese twin. Instead, he's running around town. And before you make a comment, Mike, I want to read something to you, that movement, Val. I don't know if you saw this either, but Double X Magazine, everybody know who that is in the hip hop industry. None other than my boy, who I love to death, Fat came on Double X. He says, John Morant is trying very, very, very hard to take his career to Turkey, China, or Siberia. And the only reason why he's doing that is because he's got the wrong people in his corner. He went on to say, the people that are in your corner now are allowing you to do this dumb stuff that you're doing. They're not in practice with you. They weren't in that gym with you in high school. You got picked up. They weren't in the college practices when you had to put in those late nights. They came back to you 3 or 4 years later from the hood. And now, if you get kicked out the league and you're no longer making that 40, 50, 60 million, then they're going to say, oh, man, you wasn't even good anyway. A direct quote. And you got a guy in Devontae Pack, who is supposed to be John Morant's best friend, who continues to lead him down this path. So my question to you, Mike and Val, and the audience tonight, is it mental illness or is it simply stupidity?
I'm going to let Michael, you know what? I'll go first because, you know, it is what it is. Here's the thing. There has been in our society where gangster life and necessarily then life with a gun has been glorified in television and movies and even sometimes cartoons. So depending on what Ja was looking at, either as a young kid or even growing up, this might have been glorified and then thought of as there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong. And it makes you more of a man if I can protect myself or protect my friends or just throw up a gun and have it with me. And from some of the videos that I saw that was on social media, I was thinking, what's the purpose? I don't understand it. I'm thinking about, why aren't you focusing on your jump shot? And why are so many incidents? The clip that you sent me earlier today to Coach, I was sitting there going, there were so many incidents that were happening on this playoff run that the Memphis Grizzlies were going on. And there was some incident that happened in Indianapolis, it happened in Denver. And I was just thinking, why are we focusing on that? Like, your focus is on the wrong thing. And I don't necessarily know if that's mental illness or if that's a thing of something of an ego of, I want to prove that I'm a man and I can have a gun and I have the money to have this gun or be around these people and try to show off. I don't know. It could be that. And when we talk about mental illness, it is to the point of, you know, what was his home life? You said it was middle class. Was his father around? I'm not sure. Who were the men in his life? So I don't know. I can't answer any of those questions, but it looks like something's off and something's not right. And it's him having the fame of an NBA player, young men that would kill for his position.
Right.
You know, in a roundabout sense. And that's not enough. It's like, let's do more stuff. $40 million worth of deals lost because of the first incident with the IG filming. But Michael, let me go ahead and yield to you.
about the money.
Okay.
And what I want to point out, I'm gonna play they call it devil's advocate, but such a
Mhm.
sweet person. I wish there was a different name for it, but I want to ask some questions that people don't really want to address. And I want to pick up on something that you mentioned, Val the Voice, on this. There is a level of irony and hypocrisy to this that should be called out. This is
Mm.
not to defend Ja Morant and some of the indefensible things that he has done over the last couple of weeks, including
Mhm.
pretty much lying to the world, to his bosses, and directly right to Jalen Rose in that interview that he said that
Right.
this is never going to happen again. And here
And I want to take my
a
mental
couple of
illness.
weeks, a couple of weeks later, here we are again. So this is not to give him an excuse or cover, but coach, the fact that this is happening in Tennessee with Memphis player, I think needs to be addressed. So this young man, possibly did not break any laws.
Correct.
Now, he works for the NBA. His employer has a problem with it.
So they're a private
And his
institution.
employer has the right and ability to sanction him, to fine him, to discipline him. I'm pointing out the fact that sadly, I will say, none of this is likely illegal. So he can have that gun. He can roll around with people who he may think are his friends, which probably aren't. Because
Right.
anybody that's rolling around with him, pulling out a phone when he pulls out a gun and knows the consequences of doing that and what that's going to do to his career and possibly their friendship is not a real friend.
And I'm gonna add to that,
However,
Mike, real
the
quick.
fact that he has that
110 people.
gun, yeah, but coach, the fact that he can have that gun, that he can either have it open carry,
Right.
correct, in your state,
In
in
Tennessee.
Tennessee, only a couple of weeks after we saw two African American legislators get kicked out of the Senate, of the
Right.
Tennessee House because
Exactly.
they were advocating for tougher laws because there
Exactly.
in Tennessee was one of the more than 230 mass murders that have happened in our country this
Yeah.
year using guns. Now, if none of that gets through to this young man at his age, I hope that he has time for it to sink in. I hope he is granted life, that God chooses to do that in his case to give him life so he can understand the error of his ways. But the adults in Tennessee can't figure out the issue, the problem, what's going on. So I see this as John Morant not as the problem but a symptom of a much larger issue here that people don't want to address. It has
Right.
to do with a gun culture that has gotten worse decade after decade in our lives. To paraphrase a young man from California, Compton, we are in a time where Instagram and social
Correct.
media is creating these personas that aren't real.
Correct.
This is not new. Easy E called them studio gangsters. We got a bunch of studio gangsters who are athletes. And as coaches, you and I have talked about here with Val the Voice on Interludes Extra Talk on Tuesdays, athletes want to be musicians and musicians want to be athletes.
Exactly. Exactly right,
And,
Mike. And the
and
crazy
now
part, I'm
you got this studio gangster, Demetrius. I'm gonna call him Demetrius because I ain't calling him Ja. That's too strict for him, and he
right.
ain't in the streets. As Draymond Green has pointed out, as Fat Joe has pointed out, that boy ain't in the streets. And he can flash
Right.
every gun he wants to until one of them guns takes him out. He ain't the streets. And that's to his credit. That's to his parents' credit. And as you talked about, Coach, that's a credit to the hard work that he has put in.
Yep.
Why? Why throw that away? And
Let
no,
me ask you a question, Mike.
I don't expect this young man at this age to solve the gun problem in America. Nobody seems to be able to do that. Even one of our
Right,
brightest presidents, 44, I'm calling out 44, he couldn't do it. So I'm
right.
not putting this on his very thin shoulders. But what I'm saying is y'all got to have some perspective on this, okay?
All right.
Man has
All
made
right.
he's made two really stupid decisions in succession. I hope it isn't the end of his career. I hope it doesn't set him, as Fat Joe says, to be playing games out in Siberia. Hope it doesn't make him the star in Istanbul instead of
Right,
in America. But
right.
I would rather have him alive somewhere on earth than not.
Right.
Really
How many
quickly.
and I don't know if Val or you or Mike got an opportunity to hit the article and read it. Do you know that in 3 of the 5 incidents that his mom was the initiator of the situation? Did y'all know that?
No, did not. Nope.
So
Explain that a little
in
bit.
the
Explain
incident
that,
of the
please.
ice
Explain
skate,
it.
Explain that some.
yeah, so in the incident of the Footlock incident, the mom was in there, Val, and the young man and the mom had a disagreement about whatever. She called John to Footlock. He not only come down because she's white. He come down there with a squad of 8 or 9 guys. Then the kid gets
Yeah.
scared. Obviously, 17 years old, I would too.
Hmm.
And then he runs
Hmm.
into the back. They go into the back. Jar goes around the counter, bangs on the door, then goes out the mall and tell the kids, I know what time the store closed. I'll be back when you get off. First threat. Then the mother's at his sister's high school game, and a young lady understands. So the mother calls him again. He comes again with the same 8, 9, 10 goons. But they walk in and go upstairs in the stands, snatch the young lady's phone, smash the phone and breaks her phone in the audience, and then said, what you want to do about it? So, Mike, I think you had a great point. Here's the funny part about it that you and Val don't maybe do not know. This past weekend in Memphis, there was a Crip that went on national social media and
Oh
said,
no, I
hey,
heard
John,
this. I heard this, coach.
yeah,
Yes.
Me too.
hey,
Yeah, me
John,
too.
since you out here thugging like this, why don't you do me a favor? I'll ride around with you for the whole day in the NBA to see how it is, and you can ride around me in the hood one day to see how it is. So if I'm able to ride around in the NBA and it looks like I fit, then I want to be part of your posse and get off the streets. But if you ride around with me in the hood over here in Memphis at North Mound, right, it's hard out here on a pimp, right? If you ride around here with me and you find out this good, then I want you to ride me all the time. So think about that. You didn't put yourself up here, 40 million, but the mud look better than you down here at no million. I don't know where they do that at, Val. I don't know where they do
Yeah,
that, Mike.
and here's the thing. This is Delana. Many times our talents take us where our character cannot keep us. I believe he's making bad judgment calls, trying to be one of the boys instead of being mature and using his influence for better. So you get
Right,
caught up in that where you're trying to, as you know, it was mentioned earlier, being somewhat of a studio gangster, and it doesn't quite make sense. And here's the main thing: why aren't you channeling that energy? Because that's nervous energy that should be channeled into mentorship. That should be channeled into helping other young athletes,
Yeah,
achieve
but
and do better.
he's
But
not in a Val. He's not in a situation where he can be a mentor. He's
how
correct.
old
got to
is
be
he?
in.
How old is he? How old
It's
is
like
he? Let's
20,
get an age.
23, 23,
Okay,
24.
20, 23 years old, and he came into the NBA right out of high school, or
No, no,
he
no.
did
He
some
came out of
college.
college, junior year of college. He's been in the NBA for 3
Yeah,
years. So it's
yeah,
like
because I.
23 years old. And like Mark just said,
Mhm.
that gangster mentality, it's been
Yeah.
around, and it has. And I think that you alluded to, it ain't straight out of Compton NWA. It's Menace to Society. And a lot of you guys
Mhm.
on this
Right.
show probably have never seen that movie, Menace to Society. If you haven't, go watch. And as Mark mentioned
There
right here,
are enough memes. There are enough memes where they replace O-Dog's face with John Morant out floating around. So John Morant never tried to rob a grocery store that we know of.
no, forget the grocery store.
That's Photoshop. If you all
Pull
see
up,
it out
pull up in the fast food lane to McDonald's. Hey man, give me give me a hamburger,
there.
no
Lawrence
cheese, no
Frank
onion.
nailed
And
that, bro.
I'm gonna take them dates the moment we get up out of here.
Yeah.
Hey,
So
Coach, let me make a if I might, I want to make a kind of transition because I know we're running
Yes,
short
sir.
on time and we're gonna be tight and we're gonna hit it, Val, voice. So um tonight, speaking of the other side of things, let's transition from Ja Morant to a man that did win the NBA lottery. And that is Victor Wembanyama, a French person, a French team. If you all don't know who he is, you gonna know who he is real
Now
soon.
you know.
The
Now you
guy
know
that
you better
LeBron
know.
James calls the alien, the one that Steph Curry says will change the game of basketball. Victor Wembanyama, coach, tell us what a big night this was for him.
It was a big night, but I didn't mean to throw a wrench in everything because I got my people watching here in Nashville. And I got a lot of my folks watching Nashville. My guy, who I think is going to change the face of the NBA, is none other than my son's friend, and that is probably number 2 or number 3 pick in Brandon Miller. He's a kid that went to college and had the opportunity to play and do all that. Now, Scoot Henderson, coming from Club Ignite, NBA, the G League, is going to be good. But this kid, Victor, is with wingspan, he leads triple categories, Mike, in points, blocks, and assists. And there's no other player in the draft, close to the draft.
7'5".
Yeah, and he's 7'5". He handles the ball. Put it like this, Val. I'm gonna give you 3 people, Val. They said this kid, a third of him is Kevin Durant. A third of him is Joel Embiid or Giannis, and a third of him is Steph Curry. The kid can step out and shoot the 3. The kid can post up, and the kid can block shots.
He's a
And
human
that's enough.
cheat code. He is a
But
human cheat code.
here's the difference on that, Mike. And I think it was put today, and I love how my boy today said, LeBron James and Draymond Green today said, you're not going to get them numbers when you hit the league, baby. You're not.
Coach, they said that about Kobe too. All right. They said that famously Jordan froze Kobe out for a while, in the All-Star game. But after a while, even Jordan had to admit Kobe Bryant is special. Okay.
Yeah.
Victor Wembanyama, save an injury. Oh my God, look at that picture. Look at his arms.
Yeah, but
If those were had feathers, he could fly, Coach.
Oh my God, that's a little exaggeration.
Hey,
I believe he could fly.
But you know what's gonna make this kid special?
I believe he can touch the sky.
Go ahead. You know what's gonna make this kid special?
What?
What's gonna make it?
What we just talked about.
That's the transition.
LeBron James.
Can I get this?
Right.
Go ahead.
Hey, let me I'm gonna make the layup, Mike. You know, I'm a finger roll, but and Val don't miss my jump shot. If I throw you a jumper down, you feel me? So what's gonna make this so special is what we just came off. The golden torch was supposed to go to this kid in Memphis, and now because of the stuff that's going on, it's gonna quickly shift to this young man right here. And the golden torch over the next 2 years, if he can walk in the NBA, there's a couple of firsts, by the way, Mike. If he goes first in June, he becomes the first French to ever Euro to go number 1 in the NBA draft in America, first of all. And then he gets the golden torch not only brought to him, but built out for him and in a great situation. Because
the situation is what's going to be the difference. And if
he's going to a coach that's going to allow it. He's going to Popovich. He's going to Popovich in San Antonio.
Thank you.
Pop knows.
He will. So if he goes first, Gardner said he will go first. And if by going first after the lottery tonight, Coach, that means he's going to San Antonio. He will be under the tutelage of the great Greg Popovich,
Correct.
who, by the way, full circle, Val, did you watch how this went?
The
Greg
Mhm.
Popovich,
best
the
coach in
last
Europe.
statement that Greg Popovich made as a coach this year on his last game was to call out the insanity of gun violence and gun laws in America. He is
Yeah.
going to someone who is going to
Mhm.
take care of him. Val, you were talking about why John Morant should be mentoring people. He ain't in a position to. But once
Correct.
Mhm.
Victor goes to San Antonio, gets Greg Popovich, gets that school that helped to bring out Tony Parker, another French basketball
Ginobili,
superstar.
Ginobili, who brought the
Ginobili,
Euro.
thank you. Thank you. Once he goes into that
Exactly.
environment that helped to produce David Robinson,
Tim
Mhm.
that
Duncan.
Mhm.
brought in
Tim
Tim
Duncan.
Duncan, who
Yes.
are citizens of the NBA, people who have impeccable lives on and off the court, he should
Mhm.
be in good hands. So this man may not have as much to worry about as a John Morant. Now, coaching makes a difference, doesn't it?
Makes a big difference. And not the title on this, the big difference, Val. I gotta stick it to Mike because I love him. I'm 3 out of 4 in these finals. And I'm sorry, but Golden State, nah, 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 nah,
That's
nah,
fine.
nah,
That's
All
nah.
fine.
right, all
Hey,
right, all
hey,
right.
hey,
Come
No,
goodbye.
on.
no, no, that's
And
that's
hey,
Come
fine because
on.
I
The
still
Lakers are
got,
about to join them 16 down right now. The Lakers are about to join
and
Golden
I'm
State.
good because who did
California
I
will be
tell you
watching.
come? Who did I tell you that was coming out the West?
I think you told
Denver.
me that the Denver Nuggets were coming out the West, Coach.
Told them. And I told you that Boston's coming to the East, and I had Boston and Miami playing against each other. I'm looking good right
I,
now.
I wish
Val,
you had
for
talked to Doc
promotional purposes
Rivers,
only.
Coach. I wish you had talked to your coach, your former coach, Doc Rivers, there,
Yes.
because
Oh, I know.
he didn't
He
know
got
that his
let go
team was going
today.
to quit on him 2 years in a row and lose by 30.
And Philly said,
Mhm.
nah, 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 no, 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 no. Hey, hey, unfortunately, it's a tough business. They had Adam Silver on today talking about that. You're good friends with him, but the NBA, you know the job you choose, and you become a head coach. You know your job is no more than a year. You know you get paid great money, and hopefully you can survive in this jungle. You're not you're only good as a players you coach, right? You're only as good as
Mhm.
Right.
the players you coach. It's like me, you, and Val right here. We the squad. But if we bring somebody else here and there, we can't depend on them. We're a trifecta right now. You know what I'm saying? And that's where it comes out. But having said that, again, Val, I got for promotional purposes only, I still got Denver and Boston, both my squads still rolling in
Looking
the fight,
good.
and I'm looking good.
Looking good. Looking good. Looking real good. Looking real good right about now.
Oh.
Coach, if we so y'all, hey, you gotta understand, Coach told you this. What was that like several
Way
weeks
back,
ago, couple months ago? This is the
right?
finals. It's all coming to be.
It's all
Hey,
coming
I
to the
told her,
end.
Mike and
All coming
Val,
to the
subscribe.
end.
If you subscribe, you will get this info. You don't have to worry about postal purposes. You could have already had a couple of rent payments, right, Val? You could have had a couple of automobile payments. You could have had some dinners, some cookouts. You know what I'm saying? All on Coast T. Because that's what I do, baby. That's what I do.
Mhm. So your prediction is for the finals.
The Boston Celtics will come out the East, and the Denver Nuggets behind Joker will come out the West, and we'll talk finals at a later point. But for right now, it is I love my family and Val, the none other than the voice, and my main man with the Walter Payton jump over the top from the 2 yard line, touchdown, Walter Payton, Mike Womble. I'm Coach Tony, and I'm out.
He's out of there. Oh my gosh, coach. There he goes.
Hey,
Woo! Right.
man. Woo! I
John,
feel like I was
John
running
Moran.
down the court. My
Yeah.
goodness. Like
Yeah,
I
I
ain't
was
no position for
you
that.
you did a bunch of layups all in one
Oh,
sitting because I
no,
was
I'm
thinking
dishing the ball. I'm dishing the ball. Coach Tony is the finisher.
he's the finisher.
He's the
Okay.
finisher. I'm playing Mark Jackson, soon to be a coach in a couple of weeks, I predict. But anyway, yeah.
Wonderful,
Mhm.
wonderful. Well, I'm gonna roll over here to hashtag Womble Wednesdays. And tomorrow on the hashtag Womble, next time on hashtag Womble Wednesdays,
Next
what
time,
will Mr. Womble be talking about?
talk about beef. We got beef tomorrow.
Y'all got
Beef.
beef? Y'all
Beef.
got
That's
beef
what's for
tomorrow?
dinner. That's what's for dinner tomorrow.
Is
Beef.
it from Wendy's or where is it from?
Oh, is that where's the beef? No,
Where's it-
we talking about beef. New school beef. That's what we getting into tomorrow. Or hashtag Wamba Wednesdays. Hopefully our special guest will fall through. We'll see. But yeah, beef. What a
Yeah,
relief.
what other
Yeah, I dropped the Karis one. Yes, I did.
oh my gosh, that's too funny. So we'll be back tonight. Join us live. Join him live at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. It's Womble time with hashtag Womble Wednesdays.
Beef.
He's gonna
Talking
be
about
talking
beef.
beef. He's talking about the beef. That's
Beef.
right. Not the kind you get at Wendy's.
No, not the Wendy's kind. Not in them little square patties. Sorry. Talking about beef for sure.
I definitely channeled away from this too quickly, but I wanted to say that we are in the, what do you call it? The summer movie blockbuster season. I think it officially started with the release of Guardians of the Galaxy with the first
Yeah,
weekend of
Guardians.
May.
Yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy. Mm-hmm.
Talking raccoons. Yep. It's time.
I am Groot. Who never knew? Whoever knew that the "I am Groot" was such a powerful three or four words that paid so much money.
I am
I'm
Groot.
telling you, Vin Diesel. If it wasn't for that, as well as doing the Fast and Furious movies,
Hey, it's all about family.
it's all about family.
That's right.
So we
But
will
no
be
friends,
talking.
only
We
family.
will be talking franchises and reboots. On our audio podcast on tomorrow. I wanted to make sure that I got a chance to go ahead and say that. Make sure you join us
Bring the
tomorrow
popcorn.
with hashtag Womble Wednesdays. And then, of course, this episode is brought to you by our sponsor. Oh my goodness. It's with
Me.
On
No.
Point Book Design. We help you from manuscript to finished book, making sure everything is on point. She's out of San Antonio, Texas. Give a call to Natalie at area code 443-691-1386. Michael, it's cool. Yay. Support our sponsor.
Yes, support our sponsor out of San Antonio.
San Antonio, Texas.
She got to pick up one of their Victor jerseys. I know they printing them up now.
Oh my gosh, there we go. Thank you so very much, Cousin Jean. I'm so glad there's Cousin Jean out of California. Thank you so very much. And Mr. Womble, what's your name?
My name is not Val the Voice Johnson, but yours is. And this has been Interludes Extra Talk on Tuesday with Coach Tony, myself, and Val the Voice Johnson. Thank you so much.
Join us again next week. Thank you so much, and peace. Oh, that's the wrong one. Peace. What's happening? Peace.